All right, guys, let's talk about Bitcoin. I'm excited. We have so much going on. A dump, obviously, which I love. This is a post that I published on TradingView previously. As you can see, we caught this top in the post. I mistraded a little bit. I did get short in here. I had a small long somewhere in here, and it stopped at break even, and I entered short again down here. So I misplayed it a little bit. I called this as a top, looking for 7,700 and 7,000, and I misplayed it. I'm disappointed I didn't hold a little bit longer. However, I'm making money. I'm absolutely loving this move down, and I believe it's close to an end. I think that 7,700 may be our bottom. Now, the levels that you see represented here are all based on volume using VPVR. We can pull that up real quick. You can see our major point of control on Bitstamp is a little bit different than if you look at like BitMEX or most of the other exchanges. It's down here at the lows. I don't really think that we're headed anywhere near there. The only reason maybe we would is a major stock market dump, further fears confirmed from coronavirus. I just don't think we're at that level. But if you look over here, we have a high volume node here. There's a little bit of one here. It's not quite as significant, but what level is that? That's around 7,400. So we're talking about 6,400. This is the point of control on most of the charts, Coinbase, BitMEX, etc. This is the point of control for this entire piece, not down here in the 3,000s. And we bounced off of that perfectly, beautifully. So right now we are sitting on a high volume level here, right around the 8,100 range. And it appears that we're breaking below it. Not 1 hour yet. Let's go just to the daily. One thing you should notice first is that our momentum flipped red on the daily. It's still positive on 3-day, but it is approaching red. And actually, if you look at our point of control of this piece here, we are sitting right on top of it now. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, we are sitting right at that point of control. If we lose this, then a spike down would make sense. But being that it is an 8K support, it's possible that we find some support here. And if we do, I would go ahead and long, looking for probably 9,100, 9,200-ish range. So, quick recap of where I believe we are. Let me turn off this volume profile. We had an A down, and I believe we are in a larger B behind that A wave. I believe that it will take at least as long as the A wave took, most likely twice as long. So I am suggesting that this move down here is simply a subwave of a larger move taking possibly until the end of the year. Now there is a version of this chart where we just come on down, take out the lows before another leg up of this degree here, which would be absolutely massive. I don't believe we're doing that, but it's not a possibility that we should ignore completely. I don't know what this line is from. Oh, that's this measurement, sorry. So time, let's just draw a couple of vertical lines. One to 2 times as long. And we can delete this guy. And we're going to redraw it one more time. We measure the time of this A wave up. I'm expecting the B to this A to take 1 to 2 times as long as the A wave. So then again, we're looking at 1 to 2 times as long, and potentially 3 times as long. This entire piece could take 3 times as long as this move up. But right now, it doesn't seem likely that that's the case. This actually seems like a pretty solid zone. And in fact, I'm just going to draw a box here. We're going to make that gray. And then delete both of these lines because the labels at the bottom are pretty annoying to me. But we'll keep this over here. This original idea was drawn with this point in mind, but we don't necessarily have to take that long. We definitely could. I'm going to hide this arrow. Now, just to show you how I arrived at that arrow, it had subwaves, something like this. A, B, it would be a long B, which is why I'm suggesting maybe in here would actually make sense, and C. We can take that down a degree. And this could be our A, B, C forming. We would have a move up quite similar to this one coming out of here. Now there's a lot of different orientations that this subwave B can take. It can slope upward, it can slope downward, it can go straight to the side. For me, currently, I'm expecting some kind of almost sideways move here. This will be our most boring piece. We move up essentially to this level here before consolidating further around the 9200 range. We've got a wick here, we've got these wicks in here, and we've got this. So this seems to me to be a very likely outcome, giving us our first support around 7,700, our first buy-in opportunity right around here. So I've drawn this same chart and published this same chart elsewhere already. I might have to pull it up here. So I mentioned that the levels marked on the other chart were from volume. The levels marked here are areas of support and resistance, i.e. you can see here resistance, resistance, support, 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 and even back here we had some price action that came and even launched off of this level. So something I am watching for is for this level to hold up. Even if we do come below it, coming back above it would be bullish, and I would be looking for this 9.2 type range. Oops, undo, which was a high volume area on the other chart as well. So you've got confluence between high volume and a support and resistance type level. Several areas where this has interacted with price. You can see in here we bounced around several closes in between these two levels. So that's something I'm watching for. Currently, I do still expect some short-term downside. I don't think it'll take too long. Mostly I expect just a couple more 4-hour candles. And we may see some sideways after that, something to confuse us, something to make us think that we're going to go back down. And it is even possible that we do go back down. So let's talk about that. Where can we get confirmation that the move down is complete? I'm trying to catch this wick right here, not so much this one, but you can see that wicked right to that level, right to this downtrend line. So if we were to break this downtrend line, that would suggest this move down is complete. However, you can see that's a long ways away. If we come down to 7,700, that's 1,000 points up. So we don't really want to wait that long for confirmation, but it would be confirmation of a higher time frame count. You can also watch the daily MACD. If it were to flip back up to blue, then that would suggest the confirmation is, that the move down is complete. But again, we're not going to see that happen until probably around that 8,700 level ballpark. So it's really way too late for any entries. So for me, I'm watching a couple of things. I'll go to lower time frames and watch like an hourly trend line. And if we break over this trend line, I'll be buying, looking for the 9,200 type range. But keeping in mind that I took a lower time frame confirmation trade, so we may have to micromanage the position at the beginning. If we do get further downside here, we could also form some more levels of significance, such as this one. Let me just give you an example here. So just talking about market structure is all. We've got lower highs all the way through here. Our last lower high was here. You might even be able to call it here. For me, I'm using this wick right here. But if we were to come back above this, then that confirms our downtrend is complete and we're likely to move up to at least the 9,000 range if we break this higher low. No, excuse me, lower high. The only argument against this is that we could be doing something of this nature, where we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in fact, this is kind of what got me on the last move. See, we took out this higher low here. So that is something we'd have to be wary of. We had some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when this 4 took out this higher low a couple times pretty clearly, I was expecting to come up a little higher before going back down. So it is possible that we come up here and then move to the downside. But for me, the risk that I would be taking by taking an entry there is pretty low. So it would be worth it for taking an entry looking for upside. You can also watch the hourly MACD. Hourly MACD flipping to positive. It's a long ways away right now. I really do think we have at least one more push down. We may do something like this, may go sideways, and then form some bullish divergence here on a move down. You can also watch the 15-minute MACD. You can see that we are already starting to diverge on the 15-minute chart. But that doesn't mean that we have to turn around immediately. We could still do a little sideways and one more, and that would actually give us one more scenario where we have bullish divergence. So you could be buying 7,700 with limit orders, which I might do if I think I'm going to be asleep. Or you could wait for 15-minute MACD to cross back over here, giving us the idea that this move down is complete, the impression that it's already complete. You can see during this move, 15-minute MACD hasn't flipped a single time. So if the 15-minute MACD were to flip at any time during this move, that would suggest that we're at least correcting this whole piece. We could expect the 50% level of this whole piece, and we'd be targeting at least 8,500 in that case. Okay, I think that's really all I've got on that. We talked about big picture being pretty sideways in here. I like that it aligns with this broken trend line. We could push over it just slightly. This first piece should be the most impulsive piece of this entire move. Something, I'll talk about it on Litecoin, but each piece is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So let me take some of this off. To move up, to move down, move up, move down. They're getting smaller. They're covering less price. And they're generally covering less time too. The move down, the move up. So Litecoin really represents this well. And we'll take a look at that on Litecoin in just a second. But that should be everything I've got on Bitcoin. I am hoping for one more low to 7,700. I previously mentioned that we could go all the way to 7K, but currently I don't think we're going to. I think we're going to find support at 7,700. I do want to see that level act as support before I start going deep into any positions. But I feel pretty confident at this time that 7,700 is going to at least give us some kind of bounce. You could even call it a 1-2. I don't like this count at all. I'm just showing it to you, but I despise this being a 2 wave when this took so long. We could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get us down there and make a more traditional Elliott wave impulse. I don't believe that's going to happen, but it's not something we can write off. We'll just have to watch for reactions around here. And if we fail to break this trend line, or if we break the trend line and then fall back underneath it, that would be a signal that we could be coming down one more time. But even in that scenario, you see that 7,700 gives us pretty good reason to buy there. We could also consider that maybe it gets front ran. Maybe that is our low. Maybe we don't have another low to put in at all. So you need to be prepared for that. That's why we use the trend line break on the 1 hour. You could watch a 15-minute MACD, but the 1 hour is going to be more solid confirmation. That's it on Bitcoin. I'm going to go over to Ethereum real quick. We're going to glaze over these much quicker than Bitcoin. I got to take all this junk off, sorry. I draw things everywhere. I think I had it on Coinbase. Should probably just pause you guys for a second while I find it. Nope, nope, nope. This is what I wanted, actually. Perfect. So sorry the lines are so thick. That's not my fault. I think that was actually a Google Chrome update that caused that. It's either from Chrome or from TradingView. But this is what I had drawn out previously, expecting we were here when I drew this. So we're following it pretty well as far as time and price goes, and I was looking for 180 level. Additionally, if we lose 180, could be looking at 165. I see Trader Escobar calling for 190s. He's suggesting that now is the time to buy. Lots of respect for him. That could be a level of relevance. I didn't have it ready for myself, so I have to watch the lower time frames to see if we break out of this without continuation. But until that point, I'm still expecting one more push down to 180, and I'm very interested in buying them. There's a lot going on here. This guy can go. This guy, we might be able to retest this, so I will have to leave that on the chart for now. And honestly, if we just make these a little thinner, it would clean up the chart a lot. But I'm not going to make you sit through all that. So, but you can see that this is exactly what I'm talking about on Bitcoin. We've got an A coming in here, a B, and a C wave down to make a larger A, B, C. I think that this will trend much better than Bitcoin through this entire piece. That's something we saw on the consolidation in 2018. Bitcoin got really, really tight, while Ethereum just continued dropping. It was like a rock. It barely had any sideways at all. It was just down, 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 down. So I think that we could trend better while Bitcoin is going sideways, getting tighter and tighter. We could see better opportunities to trade on alts such as Ethereum. Still 180 is the level I'm looking for. This is the structure I'm looking for. It could start anytime. We could start this right now, and it would just be moved up a little bit. But for now, I still think that we have a lot of reasons to look for at least one more move down to the 180 level. One thing that would make me wary of that is that we have recovered this low right here. So we had this wick, we got below it, and now we've tested the liquidity below it, and we've moved back up. Typically, you don't want to see us move back up into a range after we have already fallen out of the range. So that could suggest that we are heading up one more time to like 216 type range or higher. Maybe it's done. But man, look at that. That MACD just looks hideous. So overall, I really don't think that's the case. 4 hour looks pretty decent. Daily really hasn't had any time to put any divergences in. But the 4 hour, we are starting to see divergence. So you can again watch that 1 hour for a MACD flip or a trend line break, and also watch the 15-minute for a MACD flip. Flipping this would be pretty bullish. All right, and let's look at Litecoin real quick. This one's on Coinbase. I know that for a fact. This is a chart that I published on TradingView. So you can check that out there. This just illustrates the point really clearly that we are contracting in price. Every move is smaller. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm expecting this to be a 5th smaller move as we move into this. Well, that's just a hassle, isn't it? So really, those are the lines I'm looking for. I don't necessarily need all of these larger trend lines. we'll leave that one. So this is exactly what I published on TradingView. You can see time-wise, we're doing pretty well. Price-wise, I was looking for about $43, $45. I would like to still see that level. If we go down to the 4-hour, gosh, it looks terrible. It looks great for me. It looks exactly like I want it to look, but it does not look good for bulls at all. Continuation down here does make a lot of sense. Could call this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more push would likely get us to that $45 level. I mean, we're $6 away, so it's really not that much more. Percentage-wise, it's 12%. It's a pretty decent move. So I was asked if I was going to be buying at $45. I probably will. If we get this opportunity at $45, I don't see any reason that I shouldn't be buying Litecoin. I'm not looking for a moon from there, but I think we could definitely see an 80% price increase from $45 without question. I don't think that's hard at all. That's really all I got. I'm going to cover one more real quick, one of my new favorite charts. If you made it this far into the video, then you'll be the first one to hear this from me. I am really strongly looking at FTT. If you were trading in 2017, you probably got onto Binance and you saw BNB sub $1, and now BNB's had an all-time high as $40. I truly believe that FTX is a better exchange than BNB, than Binance. I know that FTX is being more innovative and they're adding a ton of new features. They're new, so it makes sense for them to only be at $2 instead of 20 or $40. But I think that this is a solid opportunity to hold and look for higher prices. I have some limit orders set in this 222 area. You can see that somebody was sitting with some pretty hefty limit orders here to make sure price didn't go below this price. And even dips here were stopped at these levels. Now we have Bitcoin and Ethereum that are making lows, and this is bullishly diverging. So I don't know for sure if we're going to get to this level. Even if we get to 232, I'll probably trigger some orders. At some point in time, I think that FTT will hit $20. Now, it could be a long time from now. So this will be a long-term hold for me. There's 50% less coins in circulation than BNB. There's what else? They do coin burns. They give you a discount on your fees if you're holding FTT on FTX. There's a ton of reasons to hold FTT. They made it that way so that it would force price up, just like Binance did. Binance had the best game plan of any coin out there. And if you would just bought at $1 in 2017, then it would be the only one that really gave you some incredible returns since then. The solid fundamentals, these are the only coins with fundamentals in the space. For that reason, I really do like this. I think that this is a good opportunity. FTX also allows you to hold it as collateral to trade other coins with. You cannot trade FTT with margin, with leverage on FTX. They don't want you to short their coin. It has been added to Binance and to Bitfinex. I believe both have margin trading enabled. It's only on FTX that you can't short it. But obviously, for obvious reasons, they don't want you to short their coin. They want growth, and that's I wouldn't be surprised if SBF Alameda is the one with limit orders right here, holding this thing above 212, 213. So for me, this is going to be my buy and hold. And then I will still margin trade like Litecoin and Ethereum from those levels. Sorry, my family chat is going off today. I don't know. My dad's telling dad jokes, I guess, but even worse than normal. All right, guys, that's really all I've got. If you have any questions, just hit me up.